Local stories, local people. We're taking you inside Western Mass news. It's the Even Better Western Mass podcast with Dave Madsen.
Welcome to this week's edition of Even Better Western Mass. Wherever you are, hope you're doing as well as can be expected. We're into week 4 of this coronavirus crisis. This week on Even Better Western Mass and in future weeks, we're going to focus on the good things that people and organizations are doing to help everybody get through this crisis. Our first guest is Lori Flynn. She is president and CEO of Link to Libraries. Western Mass News has been associated with Link to Libraries for many years. Of course, their mission over the past 12 years now, is to put books in the hands and homes of children who wouldn't normally have their own books. In that time, since 2008, they've done that with 500,000 children here in Western Massachusetts. They've started a new initiative in the middle of this coronavirus crisis, and that is every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 o'clock now on the Link to Libraries Facebook page. They're doing like a bedtime story with local authors. I talked to Lori Flynn, the president and CEO of Link to Libraries, about this initiative and why they decided to do it right now.
Our whole mission is to get books into the hands of the kids who need them. And we do that through the school system. We do that through donation of books to the libraries and through volunteer classroom readers who give books to the children to take home and create their home libraries. Well, during this time, while the kids are at home learning and the schools are all closed, I was really struggling with, okay, how do we keep with our mission? How do we continue to try to help? I mean, obviously people are dealing with much bigger concerns than getting books at this point, getting food and all of those important things. But we wanted to help. I think about summer learning loss, and I think about over just a couple of months what that means to kids, and we're almost doubling the time right now. So I had seen online that in the children's book world community, there had been a lot of authors who were offering up activities for kids. Mo Willems is doing a doodle thing every day at lunch, and just some really cool stuff going on out there. And I know that in New England, we have this enormous resource because we have all of these children's book authors and illustrators. So I reached out to a few who are friends of mine and who have done things for Link to Libraries in the past. I said, what do you think about this? And I was thinking of bedtime stories. I thought, maybe it would be a calm time at night. I liked the comforting feel of a bedtime story in a situation like this. But I wanted to also add something to it. At first I thought we would just do recordings of stories and just post those. But the nice thing about doing it through Facebook Live is that the kids can interact with the author. They can ask questions. So it's almost a virtual author visit right there in your own home.
What a great opportunity, too. I watched the first one that you did on Tuesday night and just absolutely loved it. I think, it's not only good for the kids, it's good for the parents and the adults.
Blazing by a roaring fire, clothes just taken from the dryer. Favorite PJs, perfect fit. Woolly socks that mama knit.
Jamie McCallick is a fantastic woman. She earlier this winter had volunteered to do 2 school visits for us in Springfield. She's a Springfield native. She lives in Rhode Island now. So she was kind of the perfect starting point for this, I think.
You mentioned just what a great area this is and the resources that we have around here and the number of children's authors who are here. I know you talk about Mo Willems, and my granddaughter is one of her favorites, and she loves that doodle time that he's doing too.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that.
It's just wonderful to see, whether it's reading stories or these artists who are going on and doing concerts or whatever else, just folks looking to do different things in this really tough time.
Everybody's rallying. It's a scary time, and we're all unsettled and unsure of what's happening next. But part of the good that comes out of all of this, you think of Mr. Rogers always saying, look for the helpers. And I think it's been so incredible to see, particularly in the artistic community, how people are rising to the occasion.
I know you talk with different educators and authors and things like that. What are they telling you about the best way to deal with our children and to explain this all to them? It's not an easy explanation.
It's not an easy explanation. And I think one of the things that I know I've talked about with some of the parents that I am friends with too is being really in tune to when your children like to talk. For some reason, my youngest son always wanted to open up and discuss everything important in the back seat of the car. So I knew that if there was something we needed to address, we'd go for a long drive. And he'd eventually open up there. I know that my oldest son, really in that time after school before dinner, he was willing to really talk about things then. So I think being in tune to when your child's most able to communicate with you, and they sort of all have their own time, and putting down, and it's hard when everybody's working at home, but turn off the computer, put down the iPad, make sure that there's time to sit on the couch and just connect. And one of the great ways to do that is with a book. And books are a great escape during a time like this. So I think that being in tune and really making that time, really turning everything off and paying attention.
Take yourself out of the reality of everyday life and disappear to somewhere where you just want to forget about it all.
Exactly, where life is a little bit more present at the moment. And there's so many opportunities to do that. And I think people sometimes make a mistake too in thinking that it's only the really little kids that want to be read to. And that's not true at all. I mean, we've got all this time in our hands. It's a great opportunity to start a chapter book with your children who are a little bit older, even up through middle school. If with nothing else going on, kids are more willing to be able to do that. And that way they're learning vocabulary, they're hearing stories, they're learning about character and plot and all these important things they don't even know they're learning.
Yeah.
Sort of happening. So I would recommend that people really think about that too. Don't just read to the little ones. See if you can get older kids involved.
Great time to connect or reconnect in many instances.
Absolutely. We got to try and make something good come out of this.
I know, and we've always talked about with Link to Libraries just the importance of reading, and especially this time where kids are out of school. There's not necessarily that learning element each and every day. So reading in its own subtle way really introduces that, or I guess introduces it more than anything else.
Absolutely, it does. And it's difficult in different areas. There are families with different needs and different capacities, and it's wonderful for all these kids who are at home who have access to the internet and can take advantage of all these opportunities that are being offered there. There are a lot of families, and a lot of the families that we serve, who don't have those things. And so a good old-fashioned book is a really great way to keep kids alert and engaged, and to help them escape.
So now you're going to do these readings every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8:00, right?
We are. Every Tuesday and Thursday night, we've got a nice lineup. On Thursday night, we have an author named Annika Denise, who's going to be sharing a book with us. And then Ashley Morris and Cynthia Platt, Megan Lambert. We've got a whole bunch of authors lined up. It's been amazing. Everybody sort of hears about it, and then they want to get in on it too. So it's been great. That's
the good part of it. Let's talk for a minute to about the impact, the possible impact all of this could have on nonprofits like Link to Libraries, that many businesses are hurting, and we don't know how long it's going to be that we're going to be locked into this. The possible impact on agencies like Link to Libraries.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's weighing on all of us very heavily right now, because we don't know what the landscape's going to be like. And obviously, organizations like Link to Libraries, we are dependent on sponsorships from local businesses. That's how we get library books into the schools. So if you have businesses that are unable to remain open, or struggling to remain open, I worry about what our sponsorships will look like when we come out on the other side. I think the other big thing for us is every 2 years we host this big gala, and that is that's our largest fundraiser. It lasts us for 2 years. And it was supposed to be May 8th, but we obviously had to postpone it, and it's moved to September now. But who knows what September is going to look like? So I think we're all going to have to get really creative and think about ways to keep ourselves functional. But I think fundraising is going to look a lot different, at least for the foreseeable future.
Sure. You've had such great corporate support through the years, and individual support too.
Absolutely. In fact, the bulk of our donations come from individuals, which is fantastic. And we are so grateful for that support. And people have been wonderful, even in this difficult, stressful time. There are people who have sent in donations to say, hey, I know this must be scary. Please keep doing what you're doing, which we greatly appreciate.
And I know one of the key elements to what you do too is have business people and individuals come into schools and read out loud to the kids. So what you're doing on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evening, as far as the bedtime stories, is part of that element, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely it is. In fact, it was something that originally I was thinking about. I wasn't sure how the book world would respond to it, and we've been very fortunate. But I'd also like to have people in the community do it as well. You know, we could have business leaders and our political leaders and community leaders also read a story at night and engage that way. So that's something I'm going to look into as well.
I like that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, because it's the best, you know, and everybody enjoys it. So it's everybody wins.
Exactly. If folks want to help Link to Libraries, how can they do that?
Absolutely. Right now, really, because our volunteer team is really put on hold at the moment, honestly, and I hate to say it, but donations really are the best way for us right now. And you can go to our website, www.linktolibraries.org, and there's a place to make a donation. I am still purchasing books and trying to have them shipped to different school districts if I can, so that they can. We just did an initiative with MGM Springfield. I'm not sure if you saw that, but it was really wonderful. And MGM Springfield stepped up and they purchased the books, and they provided the bags and the manpower to help me do it. But we donated 1,000 books to Springfield area children, and we did it through the lunch pickup sites, so that when they picked up their lunch, they picked up a book as well. The landscape has changed even since then. But if I can, I'm trying to get books to the districts. So that's why the donations are still much needed.
Now, again, the readings are every Tuesday and Thursday night, and all folks have to do is go to your Facebook page, right?
Yep, it's Facebook Live. So all they have to do is go to our Facebook page, and you will see it there. And we encourage people, you know, last night was our first night, so we're going to get better at this as we go along. But encourage people to maybe think about a couple of questions they want to ask the author before the story, you know, and have it in the back of their mind so that when the story's done, they can ask an author, you know, where do you get your ideas? When did you decide you wanted to be an author? How did you decide you wanted to be an author? Those kinds of questions are a lot of fun to hear the answers to, and show children maybe that writing is also a way to escape in a time like this, not just reading.
All right, Lori, thanks so much. I appreciate you taking the time to do this with me, and good luck as we head down the road.
My thanks to Lori Flynn for taking the time out to talk about the Link to Libraries and, of course, the Tuesday and Thursday night bedtime stories. This Tuesday night at 8, the author is Ashley Morse, who wrote the Big E book. And on Thursday, this has got to be one of my favorite names, Josh Funk. Josh wrote Lady Pancake and Sir French Toast. That's this week at Tuesday and Thursday on the Link to Libraries Facebook page. And of course, you can always go to linktolibraries.org to find out more about that organization. They're going to need a lot of support in the days and weeks to come. My next guest is a jeweler by day and a singer by night. Well, he's a singer all the time, actually. Fred Marion. Fred and I go back a long way. First meeting through the Dan Kane Singers and Dan Kane. Fred has performed at venues up and down the Pioneer Valley, at churches, at bars and restaurants, and now his venue is his garage. Every night, Fred goes on his Facebook page to entertain all of his legion of fans and making even newer fans. Fred and I talked a couple of days ago about why he's doing.
Fred Marion, thank you for joining me on Even Better Western Mass. I've been very much entertained by your concerts during while we're all shut in at our houses.
Yeah, we're doing our best to keep all of ourselves occupied.
You've been what made you decide to do this? I know you perform everywhere in just about every venue up and down the valley. Is this for your sanity and everybody else's sanity too?
More my own sanity. Music is such a huge part of my life that it's all been taken away, just like everybody's lives. And I needed to find an outlet, and it started about 2.5 weeks ago when I came in here and just kind of got behind this camera and said, you know what, let's send out 18. And then the next day we send out another. And so it just kind of snowballed, and we're going to keep it rolling for a while.
Well, the neat thing about this too is you're seeing artists all across the country do this. It's just, you know, we talk about we're in this together. We really are, because it doesn't matter how much you make, who you are, how famous you are, whatever else. We're all in the same boat.
We are totally in the same boat. I watched the Elton John concert on Sunday night last week, and to see all of the entertainers just pulling their time together, and we need to lean on each other, because we are what we have. We pray that everybody's going to come through this safely, but we take each day at a time because that's all we get.
And that's the thing with this is you're right. We have to take each day at a time because you just don't know. I mean, it could happen to any one of us.
No, all the time. I mean, it's already striking close to home. And so now that I see friends being taken by this, it makes us realize that we really, truly have to stay home and try to get this thing to go away and leave as many of us as unscathed as we can be.
Indeed, I know. And you and I talked about this beforehand, losing our good friend Paul Khalil, who did so much to help the Dan Kane Singers, and with just a wonderful, wonderful man. And we learned this morning, as we tape this on Wednesday, that he lost a battle with COVID-19.
Yes, he did. He's been a close friend for many years, and we used to pick on each other, but we would have fun. I got involved with him at St. Anthony's Maronite Church up on Island Pond Road, and singing next to him in the Dan Kane Singers. He had a pretty good voice. He passed on the gift. I was texting with his daughter, Catherine, this morning, saying that your dad had a great love of music, and he passed it on to you and Ashley. And his love will live through the two of you. You just have to keep doing it.
It really will. He's, I remember Paul. We go back to when I first started in television, and Paul was on the Springfield City Council. And I always referred to Paul as a true Renaissance man because he reinvented himself so many different times.
Absolutely. My first experience with Paul was years ago. I decided I might change gears and get into real estate. And so I decided to take a class in Springfield and got my license, and he ended up being one of my teachers. And then years later, our paths crossed again. And we've been friends for such a long time. It's a huge loss because he was a great man. I mean, anybody that knew him now, when they found out that he was actually 77 years old, they were like, what? He's done such a great job at taking care of himself.
He really did. And I know a few years back he had a heart bypass, and
exactly.
He weathered that storm and came out strong, I think stronger than ever.
Absolutely. It's we're all kind of still numb, but
it truly hits home. And that's when I saw that this morning, I was just stunned and so saddened and sickened by the fact that we lost such a good man. It was ironically, about 2 years ago now. I'm kind of the archivist for the TV station, and I was going through some film, and it was of Jimmy Carter in Springfield in 1976, when he was running. And lo and behold, who do I find in that video? Paul Khalil.
Oh my gosh.
Paul, I believe, was running his campaign. So I was able to get a clip of it, and I sent it to Allison, and I think she gave it to him for Christmas that year. It's like, look what we found.
Oh my gosh.
He had long flowing black hair and big sideburns back then.
That does not surprise me of that man. Yeah, he's, as you said, he definitely reinvented himself many times over the years.
But we all did.
Yeah.
So one of the things with this is just so much fun is you and I have met through the Dan Kane Singers through the years, and how your music and the music of the group has entertained so many people through the years. And I just love the fact that you're doing this so that obviously a lot of your gigs have been canceled because of this, but to keep the music out there, because like you said, music can help get us through this.
Absolutely. My week, every week, starts with 3 masses on Sunday mornings. Dan and I get together at St. Pat's Church up on Island Pond Road, on Allen Street in Springfield. And we do the 8 and the 10:30. And in between, I get to run out into the 9 o'clock at Sacred Heart with Jen Gaffney and Jean Hoy. And the church has been taken away from us. And that was one huge musical outlet. And then a lot of what I do, I mean, everybody knows that I'm in the clubs during the night doing a lot of that. But daytime, I think the highlight of my life is that I get to go to different assisted living and nursing home facilities and entertain with the residents there. And as much as they get from it, I get back twofold. because I've been working with different people that have been nonverbal for years, but when you do the right song for them, they can sing along with you and know every word perfectly on pitch. And one of the places that I got to go to quite often was up to the Soldiers Home.
Mm-hmm.
And I would entertain in the one north, which is the Alzheimer's dementia unit. And one of the soldiers that we lost recently, Ron Sear, was a singer. He loved to sing. He would take the microphone and go to town. And I laugh every time I think about it. And now that he's gone, another hole that's left in our lives. But we try to carry on. Yesterday, it was an absolutely beautiful day.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the places that I get to visit often is the Daybrook Village here in Holyoke, which was Loomis before. And so I had been in contact, and I said, maybe we can get together one of these nice days, and I will come up. I know we can't go inside, but maybe I can come up and we can, I'll walk around the outside. I've got a little portable battery-powered speaker with my wireless microphone, and people can look through their windows. So I pulled into the parking lot yesterday afternoon and got there, and they had probably a dozen people outside, at least 6 feet, if not more, apart from each other, everybody wearing their masks, but waiting, and they hadn't told the residents that I was coming. They just said, we need to go outside for a little while. And so when I pulled it in, it was the best experience. And at the end of it, just before we got done, their flag in the middle of the courtyard up there had been flying at half-mast,
mm-hmm.
as per ordered by the governor for the 4 days. And when I was about to leave, they raised the flag back to full staff. And so we all did God Bless America out there. And it was a touching moment for me, but it was good to all do it together.
You give me the chills just thinking about it.
It was so neat. And the thing is it's not that far. It's right across, it's right down the road. So yeah, it was neat.
So Fred Marion, wandering minstrel now.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that as much as we can. I cannot stay home. I mean, I am. I'm being very good about this. In the house, it's Patty and my mom and I would never let anything happen to either of them. But the music has to continue. So I found a new way to do it. And it's by sending out these little love notes to the world saying, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come in and spend some time with you. I've had so many different people reach out to me and request songs that I have a list working right now, but I figure I don't want to do too many because I will run out of songs before this is over. But a couple of weeks, well, it's only been, I think I looked at my list and I've done about 17 days now. And last week I had a request from my cousin Megan, who is a nurse at Bay State. And she said that, watching the videos when she gets out lifts her spirits after what she'd just been through. And she requested that I do the song Be Not Afraid for she and the nurses over at the hospital. And so I posted it that day and I got this wonderful thank you note from her. And she reached out to me the day after that and said, I need to stop over at the house tomorrow. I will be there at about 4 o'clock. I will ring your bell. I'm going to leave something on your stoop and we can wave. So she came to the house, and Easter season, being of Polish heritage on one side of the family, my mom was a Setkowski back in the day, and she's still. And with Blue Seal Kielbasa being out of business, we didn't know what we were going to do. We were like, it's not going to be Easter without Blue Seal. Well, Megan's brother is a meat manager for the Demores at Big Y out in Ludlow. And the kielbasa had come in. So she came to the house and left 2 on my step. So even though it's going to be a quiet Easter, it will be a true Easter.
And a traditional Easter.
Absolutely. You can't go without it.
Freddie, if folks who are listening to this, they want to just go to your Facebook page, right?
Yeah, it's just Fred Marion. I'm out there, and we post something every day. Today being the first day of Passover, got me thinking about we're in the middle of Holy Week, and Thursday, tomorrow, Holy Thursday. I grew up listening to Jesus Christ Superstar over and over and over again. I remember, do you remember go back in 1971, the tour of Jesus Christ Superstar played at Alumni Field. I live across the street from the high school in Holyoke. And up behind, we had 18,000 people here for the concert, an orchestra of 32 with 24 singers and Yvonne Elliman and all the original singers during Jesus Christ Superstar. So with tomorrow being Holy Thursday, I have to post Gethsemane because Bob Ezold, the choir director at Holy Cross Church, we used to get together every year and do it just before the 4 o'clock Mass. So you can pretty much guarantee that's the one that's going out today.
Well, listen, my friend, God bless you for doing this and for our friendship. It's been fun. We've got many more things to do.
Many, many, many things.
My thanks to Fred Marion and Lori Flynn for taking the time to be with us for this week's edition of Even Better Western Mass. A couple of milestones that we should note as we wrap things up today. I want to give congratulations to Springfield Police Commissioner Cheryl Clapprood. 41 years now on the Springfield Police Department, serving the people and the city of Springfield. And Joe Pipchinsky, he is retiring as East Hampton DPW chief. The first time they're going to have a new DPW chief there in about 30 years. So congratulations to both of them. Before we go, I want to leave you with this message from Western Mass News.
This is our fight. Right here, right now. This is rising to the challenge in an unprecedented time. This is coming together as we sit apart. This is lending a hand as much as we can. This is our community, and we will stay strong. This is Western Mass. We're in this together.
Yeah, the bottom line is we are all in this together. My thanks for listening or watching this week's edition of Even Better Western Mass. Stay well, stay safe. We'll catch you next week.